Riches in niches or riches in niches. However you want to say it, the most important aspect when it comes to establishing your lead generation, rank and rent business is the niche selection process and research. And today I'm going to be covering that. How to go about finding the lucrative niches and how to go about doing it for free. What's up, guys? My name is Jason McLaughlin, rank and rent expert, professional, whatever the hell you want to call me. Today, I want to go over the most important fundamental step when it comes to building out your lead generation, rank and rent business, and that is niche selection. Now, for today's tutorial, I'm not going to be using any fancy tools, just some good old-fashioned common sense that's not so common to show you guys how to start getting your foot in the door with profitable niches and how to start looking and developing an eye for them. Now, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe below. This really gives me the opportunity to push out more value to more people because I'm on a mission here, man. I'm on a mission to help people become financially independent by building their digital real estate online. So without further ado, let me kind of just get into the nuances of how to find these profitable niches for free. Awesome. So you want to first go over to my rank and rent guide over here. For those of you that don't know, I'm actually dropping a course on this soon, and this is everything that is going to be in it. We're putting it in a table format, step by step. It's only $97, so get in. Yeah, that's it. So let's just go over this first. So as I said, this is probably going to be one of the most important aspects when it comes to your digital online real estate rank and rent lead gen sites, right? And that is the niche selection aspect of it. So I want people to start thinking about, instead of just going after these lucrative niches, how can we capitalize on niches that aren't even that lucrative? That's where the big money is. As I said, there's riches and niches. So let's get back into it. So first of all, you want to head on over and start. Obviously, I put the population numbers here. That is something we want to be looking at all the time. Remember, guys, lead generation is more about people and their needs, hence lead generation, people and their needs. That's how you need to start thinking. Not, oh, everyone's doing roofing. Roofing's profitable. It must be a thing, right? Cool. So obviously, it is a game of stats and capitalizing on those stats. I'll give you an example. So like we are generating leads for a scaffolding company. There's a niche for you. Scaffolding company. What type of data points, statistics would you need in order to make an accurate decision on that specific lead gen website? Now, I'm not even talking about building the fancy SEO sites, the cool Facebook ads, the fancy ass forms that a lot of people sell you on. Think about it. What stats would you need on that? So let's carry on. So you obviously refer to the rank and rent toolkit that my agency is developing. And that would be, let me grab it here for you. It's basically a niche selection thing, and I've left the top two blank because I'll be teaching my students on those ones. Namely, I think those are pretty kick-ass ones. But let's say scaffolding, or let's say, let's just pick one here. Artificial grass installation. Artificial grass installation. All right, there's one. So for artificial grass installation as our niche, what would we need to find out about it? All right, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking now. People that use artificial grass would more than likely live in areas where real grass is expensive to maintain, which would mainly probably be because of water restrictions or climate being an issue, mainly too hot, too dry, etc., etc. So how would we go about finding those data points? You see, this is how I want the lead generation nation to start thinking. It's about people, not so much about the services, but how are people affected by certain like macro factors that will contribute to getting more leads in. Awesome, cool. So that's kind of what I wanted to just get through here. So we go back to the sheets. So questions to ask yourself. Now, as I've mentioned before, data is king when it comes to building out rank and rent lead gen sites. And I'm also going to be showing you now how to like start getting data for totally free, but just to start getting those brain juices flowing. Yeah, so questions to ask yourself. What previous experience do you have? What previous experience do you have in this niche you're thinking of going after? Why? Because that'll give you a better understanding, especially if it's your first lead gen rank and rent website. You will have a better understanding, right, of the pain points of these business owners, or a niche in a niche, a niche in a niche. Different services that you can tweak and alter. As very random example, let's say commercial artificial grass installation, hockey astro installation versus other things like residential, etc., etc. So obviously your experience you have, like I have experience in finance and investments and that. I know probably a bit more than the average Joe on what certain people are looking for in home loans, how real estate agents are generating leads, etc., etc., things like that. And the different categories within those categories, that's where you're going to find a lot of profit for your rank and rent website. So yeah, as I said, what previous experience do you have? What are you good at? Now, obviously, this is just another thing, but like, what are you good at and what do you have a lot of knowledge on? These seems like very fun, like rudimentary questions and very simple, but people fail with the complicated stuff because they refuse to do the basics. So what are you actually good at? So if let's say there's a sport you're good at, or how can you, like, from what you're good at within that community, leverage those relationships in order to build this type of business model? What problems do you want to solve? As I said, guys, these are questions to ask yourself before establishing your lead generation rank and rent business. What problems do you want to solve, right? What contacts do you have in the industry? Now, this, as I said, is the most fundamental part, is niche selection. And these are the things you need to be thinking about. What contacts do you have in the industry that you can ask advice for? So for instance, let's say we're going after artificial grass, as I just said, artificial grass installation. And I've kind of touched on factors that would, let's say, affect areas of where people would be trying to generate those leads and make different like price points in that. Who do you know in the industry that would give you free advice? Say, yeah, listen, Jay, we battle with this, and this. And if you can help solve one of these issues, we'd happily accept leads from you. I've just given away quite a big part there already on how to approach business owners. But basically, from those relationships you have, you'd obviously also want to leverage what are their price points? What are their price points, right? Their price points are going to determine as well how profitable your lead gen site is and how you're going to go about it. Are you going to be renting out GMBs to people? Or are you going to be building a monster site that ranks and gets in a lot of traffic? Now, obviously, that would lead us back to the discussion of volume versus quality and quantity, right? So volume, we'd be looking at getting lots of GMBs ranking and renting GMBs out, making sure the GMBs are healthy, obviously doing great SEO to them, posting on them, protecting those GMBs, separate Gmail accounts. You obviously don't want to risk suspensions. There's too many SEOs and lead gen guys out there that get lazy, put all their GMBs in one brand new like Gmail account. One of them gets suspended, they lose the whole bunch. I've seen guys lose lead generation businesses like that. And then another thing, what are their margins? What are their margins? So what are their price points and what are their margins? Now, margins are going to be a big factor in how you attack the rent and rank model, rank and rent model, right? How are you going to do that? So obviously, if you have a very low ticket item, you're going to be wanting to go the GMBs, renting them out, fixed retainer, lower rates, but have more of them. Higher rates, I'd obviously want to go and get more of like a monster authoritative site built up and then start issuing those leads out. And then last but not least, in this question, like bunch of questions to ask yourself, is basically what other lead generation companies do they work with? What other lead generation companies do they work with? Is it a normal thing that companies in your niche work with lead gen people, or is it a bit of a taboo thing? For artificial grass installation, as I just mentioned there, I think they would be willing to do that. But I'm also going to show you now how we can find out if they're willing to do it. A few other things here I've got mentioned. As I said, guys, this will all be tabulated in a step-by-step checklist for you to go and hit each of them. And it'll be for all the students that are joining. As I said, really want to get into that if you are looking at starting a lead gen business and that. All right. So I've kind of touched on this last one, but this is what is also very, very fundamental, and it deserves some time spent on it. So once we have all of that, we have the price points, the margins, the volume, the quantity, et cetera, we want to list the factors that affect each niche. What do I mean by that? All right. Is it seasonal? So depending on where we're going after, you would need to know about the different climates. So if people repair their roofs during obviously the driest season of the month, where is that in regards to where you're targeting? That is when you can expect an uptick in revenue, obviously with roofing. Now, with artificial grass installation, I would need to do some more research into that. I don't know how that would affect it, but I'm assuming that there's a certain point in the year where a lot of the artificial grass that had previously been installed is damaged and needs to be replaced, which would be an uptick. Migration, things like moving companies. If people are emigrating or semi-migrating, what is it called? I'm not sure what it's called when you move inside where you live, due to certain political factors and aspects like that. Now, I'm not an American by any chance. I'm South African. And I know that a lot of people are currently fleeing LA to go to places like Texas and aspects like that. And possibly people that are fleeing are moving to Texas or other states around, tax havens and whatever, from what I've read. And they are renting, and then they're looking for a place to buy, which would also contribute to more people moving. Crime, that's a big one I know about here in South Africa. Crime rates. Say like your niche is something to do with crime, detectives, private security, et cetera. Breaking that down would also help contribute to knowing if your niche is going to be successful. Office parks expanding. I put this one here, as I mentioned earlier, scaffolding hire. So let's take that as an example. If you like looking to build out something for scaffolding hire and that, you would start to think like, all right, where are the price points going to be best? The margin's going to be best. It's most likely going to be in the commercial side, for those big commercial scaffolding deals and that. And what factors would affect that now? Factors affecting that, people moving to a particular area, like the moving company, growth, expansion, economic development happening there. How would that all go about that? So yeah, those are just a few of the factors I'm going to touch on today with regards to that. Now, obviously, once you've got a detailed avatar, right? A detailed avatar on your rank and rent model of the person, the price points, etc., you're going to want to start going and contacting business owners in your area. Now, I would highly suggest a VPN in order to get into the areas and do the direct searches. Something like this. So here, back to my example, artificial grass installation. So I've got a VPN into the States now, right? Or a private proxy, not VPN. Similar. And now I've done obviously a search and it's targeting the whole of United States. Now you want to obviously click and start diving into who are the big boys in the area here. How can we target them? And really start dissecting the market. I've just had an idea now. They put artificial grass on top of roofs here. Would that not lend an opportunity in order to reach out to developers? Cut a deal both ways. See, I think lead gen, rank and rent has become like this cookie cutter thing where people are very stuck in the box, and I'm trying to break that mold. I want guys to start thinking like different ways. Now we've got the artificial grass on the roof. Okay, now how do we capitalize on that? Well, it seems like it would be a good move to start linking up and networking as well with guys that are in, let's say, the development construction game that are looking for things like this. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to cover on that. So after we'd reached out to 10, 15 business owners, we would want to ask things like, what are they pricing for their services? What types of services do they have? Now, if you have a bit of knowledge on the industry, as I recommend for your first rank and rent website, you will ideally know the price fluctuations within a particular area or season and that, but that needs to be noted down and actually put down so you can time your rank and rent websites, or depending if you're starting it, and you can develop like a type of expectancy to get through that first year. Get through the first year and establish data for your rank and rent website. So 10 to 15 business owners, contacting them, pick up the phone. We'll have the call scripts and email scripts in the course. Get an idea when you're speaking to these business owners on how busy they are. Is their calendar full? Do they have like more manpower to take on more work? And that is what I would honestly advise for that. Then another thing I would highly recommend that I'll be showing you guys exactly how to do in the course is 10 Facebook groups where your prospects are hanging out. 10 Facebook groups. Start networking. Optimize your profile for that. Get that you are the lead gen guy. Now, obviously with rank and rents and lead gen, it's also very easy to start a digital marketing agency off the back of that. So I'm quickly going to dive into, for those of you guys still hanging around, it gets good now. I'm going to also be showing you how to also start thinking about this rank and rent lead gen thing. If you're kind of sitting on the fence, so that this is basically the first step that needs to be taken. And if you just follow what I'm saying in this video alone, I can guarantee you the rest is Not easy, well, relatively. All right. So something I see barely any people suggesting in the niche selection research phase in order to decide whether it is good for your knowledge, personality, etc., is doing this. Go into the Facebook Ads Manager. Yes, I said it. Rank and Red, Facebook Ads Manager, do it. And go to the desired location. So just for this is the ad account I'm not using. Put your location in, and then scroll down and just start messing around with the targeted settings here and trying to see what people like, just trying to gain some insight into what old Zuckerberg is telling us. So we can browse, click browse, demographics, education, financial, life events, parents, relationship, work. So these are obviously aspects. These are aspects that you need to start taking into consideration when thinking about your Rank and Rent website. So what type of education do the guys have that are running these businesses? What type of financial backing do they have? Back to the leads, cost per click, cost per lead, etc. What life events have they had recently? How can you adjust yourself to contribute more to the well-being of their business? What type of relationships do they have? Here's one: work. What job titles are in those companies? What are their interests and behaviors? We're basically cultivating the ideal customer avatar, right? And by doing that, it'll be so much easier to sell leads to these business owners. All the other Rank and Rank courses around here are mainly about how to just, here's the site, here's the research, good luck, let's see it. Where I'm wanting to do it a lot more differently, to the point where when these things start getting leads in, you guys know where they're going, how they're going, who they're going to, etc. And it just gives you so much more confidence in the work you're doing it. The term, they build it and they will come, total bullshit, in my humble opinion. And obviously another factor we could do is go and grab good old faithful Google Keyword Planner. So this is obviously also when you're going into your niche selection, you can put in the volume here and see how many people are searching for it for a month. But that's more of the easier rudimentary stuff. That's easier to go over. Guys, that's all I have for you today. I've dropped quite a few little golden nuggets here, if you actually manage to stay till the end and watch. Please like this video and subscribe. Check out my course. I promise you guys you're going to be getting a lot of value. Step-by-step processes, call scripts. I've even put in a verification method on how I verified my digital agency. Lead Generation Nation, I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.